I just want to follow up on a few things, Mr. Administrator. One is, and we will put the documents in the record, but it's very clear what they say here. It says that the Office of Criminal Enforcement, Forensics, and Training, let me back up, the decision to provide 24/7 was made by the Office of Criminal Enforcement, Forensics, and Training after being informed that Mr. Pruitt requested 24/7 protection. So I know you keep trying to say this says that it was their idea. This says they made that decision after you requested.
I can only say, Senator, I did not direct that decision to be made. That was made by the Office of Criminal Enforcement.
All I know
was
is
aware of the process taking place prior to my arrival. You remember my confirmation process as Senator? It was fairly competitive, intense, and there was ongoing process.
I'm just reading. We're all trying to figure out what the facts are here. I'm simply reading from the IG report, and the IG report says their decision was made after you requested 24/7 protection, not that it was made because they concluded that there was a need for 24/7.
The Inspector General, in my view, was simply trying to clarify that they don't engage in assessments. That's the protective service detail that does that. The document that it was referred to earlier, I think Member Udall mentioned it, of August. It's just simply a snapshot in time of the types of threats that were being investigated by the agency. Right. The death threats and the rest. It was not an assessment. No one ever said it was an assessment.
Mr. Administrator, I'm not at all confused between the fact that the IG's office is to document things that have happened. It's not their job, obviously, to present the threat assessment and recommend what security. What the IG is saying is that when they asked the folks who were responsible for providing security, which is the Office of Criminal Enforcement, Forensics, and Training, that office told them that they provided you 24/7 protection after you requested it, not because they did some assessment that justified the need for 24/7. So we'll put this document in the record. We can all talk about it. I want to ask you about allegations.
But they are the individuals that made the decision, according to the same document you're referring to.
They made the decision. Look, if a new administrator comes in and says, hey, I want 24/7 protection, and they provided it, you're right. They decided.
That's not my experience historically.
Well, that's what this says. Yeah. That's what this says. The chronology here is that they made that decision after your request for it. And this is an IG report. I mean, I assume that they take this job seriously. Let me ask you about statements made by somebody who used to work for you, one of your deputy chiefs of staff, Mr. Shimolinski. Is that how you pronounce his name, Mr. Shimolinski?
Sounds right.
Okay. Are you aware of the allegations that he's made? He says he was fired by you because he brought to your attention some of these issues regarding misspending and violations of the public trust. In fact, in a interview with some of the members of the Environment and Public Works Committee, he said, and I'm quoting from their record, quote, every time you tried to find out about something, you got into trouble, unquote. And they go on to detail lots of statements that he made, your former deputy chief of staff, about your conduct and decisions. These are documented in a letter of April 12, 2018 from Senator Carper, White House, and Elijah Cummings and Congressman. Are you familiar with this letter?
I'm familiar with the letter, not all of its contents, but
okay. Have you had a chance to review it?
It's been some time.
Okay. So my question is that the suggestions have been made through your testimony that people who have policy differences with you would be somehow motivated to make more out of these things than is justified. This is coming from somebody who strongly supports the president's agenda, has no differences with you on the policy agenda. He was on the Trump campaign. President Trump has given him a shout out. He says to this day that he supports the president's agenda and doesn't have an issue with the policy agenda you're pursuing. Do you have any reason why he would be making these statements other than if they're truthful?
Well, I had limited interaction with Kevin. In fact, most of the interaction that I had with him was in the field. He was effectively the head of Advance. And I can say to you that I'm not aware of any personnel decision being made with respect to the person you're referring to, with respect to any policy issues or budget issues or spending issues. I just simply didn't have that kind of interaction with Kevin.
Do you have-
So I don't know what he's referring to.
Well, okay, because he's got a lot in here. I really urge the committee to take a look at this. And at the end of this letter, there's a request for documents. My question is, will you provide the documents requested in this April 12th, 2008?
I'm sure that's in process. I'm sure that's in process.
Okay, so that's a yes?
Yeah, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam.